It starts on the morning of the last day, when spirits are high and none of the students seem interested in class, and they all can't wait for the closing bell to ring. Earlier that morning, we see a student named Randall Floyd along with his friends getting excited for the party that was going to be hosted by another student named Kevin Pickford. Floyd gets along with basically all kinds of students in school and is the quarterback on the school team, so he's become rather popular. Next, we see him and his other friends approach the school's certified #1 stoner named Slater while he's doing his thing, as usual, to remind him about the party. Then suddenly, a classmate named Don approaches Floyd, handing him a pledge sheet from their coach for him to sign and return by the end of the day. The sheet states that he wouldn't partake in any illegal activities at the party, as it would jeopardize the efforts of the team. This puts a damper on his plans of getting extremely high at the party, and he refuses to sign it, even though Don tells him that all the other teammates didn't see it as a big deal and have all signed to get the coach off their backs. While Floyd is being moody, Don and another classmate named Benny invite him to participate in a school tradition, where the seniors bully the freshman students in the middle school during summer. Before departing, one of the girls in their class named Jody asks them to go easy on her brother Mitch, and they playfully promise to keep him safe. But immediately she turns around. The guys place Mitch as their #1 target. On arrival at the middle school, they give the students an offer, which is that they wouldn't pick on any other student at summer school if they came down for their beating after school. When they return to school, the coach gives Floyd a hard time and insists that he sign the pledge sheet, but immediately after the scolding, he throws the paper away. Meanwhile, back at the middle school, Mitch and the freshman students are planning an escape from the seniors after closing, and even beg their teacher to let them go early, but he refuses. Soon, the hour arrives, and the bell goes off, causing a rampage as the senior students celebrate wildly in delight that school's finally out for the summer. Sure enough, the senior boys arrange a stake out in front of the middle school and begin hunting the freshman students as they scamper around. Elsewhere, the senior girls, who seem to have a fetish for pacifiers, put the freshman girls in trucks and take them to a parking lot for some kind of initiation ritual into high school. Meanwhile, Mitch and his friends got a car ride, and the seniors are in hot pursuit in a truck. Luckily, they get to Carl's house, but one of the seniors named O'Banion catches them, and just when he's about to whoop them, Carl's mom scares him off with a shotgun. Back at the parking lot, the senior girls make the freshman girls perform degrading activities while pouring food condiments on them, in a bid to follow their very weird tradition. They even make one of them, named Sabrina, propose to a nerdy senior named Tony. He's a nice guy, though, and is rather polite to the freshmen. Afterward, the guys head down to Kevin's house to start making arrangements for the party. His parents are leaving town for the weekend, so the house would be all his. Unfortunately, all their plans fall short when the delivery guy arrives with the kegs of beer almost 2 hours earlier than expected. And when Kevin's dad gets a whiff of the party plans, he calls off their trip and decides to stay home. As a result, the party is called off, and everyone is bummed about it. Regardless, night falls and the seniors head out anyway to have a good time. At a baseball game, Mitch is playing for the middle school team, and some of the seniors who still have a score to settle with him had Carl wait for him. And after the game, they mercilessly pounce on him, whooping him with their wooden boards. After the beating, Floyd, who appears to be the only one with compassion, arrives and gives Mitch a ride home, and then invites him for a night drive with the seniors since the party was canceled. Later that night, virtually all the students are out either driving around aimlessly or indulging in some illegal activity somewhere. Soon, Floyd arrives with a popular alumnus of the high school named Wooderson to pick Mitch up. They take him to some sort of hangout spot, where some of the senior students try to get him high. Elsewhere, Carl and some other friends are getting bored with the middle school party arranged for them, even though it's already turned into a huge makeout session that the chaperones don't seem to be bothered by. Carl claims that they've outgrown such since they are now freshmen. On their way out of the party, the hunters track them down and catch one of the friends, but once again, Carl escapes. And O'Banion, the senior who got a gun pulled on him, seems to be getting more frustrated that Carl keeps slipping away. Meanwhile, the senior girls also invited a freshman named Sabrina to hang out with them, and they take her out to the same bar where Floyd and Wooderson were. and the two groups meet there. After a while, the guys decide to go on another joyride and invite Mitch to come along. As they drive by, they smoke weed and chug beers, making them quite high, and they start vandalizing people's trash cans and mailboxes. They even pressure Mitch into breaking someone's windshield. Soon, they run out of beers and decide to get some more, so they stop at a shop. But they're approached by a man who pulls a gun on them. Apparently, he's one of the people whose stuff they destroyed. And while he's still scolding them and waiting for the police, Don decides that they can make a run for it. So they zoom off, causing the man to shoot at them from behind. Somewhere else, another group of 3 less interesting seniors is driving around in a car, and they feel bad that they're not having as much fun as the others. So they decide to try kicking their fun into the next gear. Back at the hangout spot at the Emporium, Mitch is sent to get a 6-pack, and even though he's underage, he still uses all the slick skills he's learned all night to his advantage, and procures the alcohol. On his way back, he meets Carl and the other guys, and they plan a way to get back to O'Banion. So they set a trap for him. Mitch returns to the Emporium and receives praise for being able to get the beer. His feat even impresses a sophomore girl he's had his eyes on all night. The trap for O'Banion is in motion when Mitch spreads a rumor that Carl had been caught outside. Immediately, the bully hears this. He rushes out to finally settle the score. But when he goes to whoop Carl, other freshmen pour paint on him from on top of the roof and instantly flee. As a result, he's humiliated and throws a tantrum before driving home. Luckily for the bored group, they come across Wooderson at a gas station, and he invites them to a party he's throwing at a place called the Moon Tower. On getting to the place, one of them named Mike gets in trouble with a marijuana addict named Clint. And just when he's about to get beat up, Floyd comes to the rescue, but with his ego hurt. Mike seeks payback from Clint. As they go deeper into the night, the party starts to come alive, and in the midst of it all, Floyd is confronted by one of his teammates about his recent attitudes towards the team. Floyd is a very valuable player to the team, and they all worked very hard to get where they are, with chances of winning big championships. But suddenly, he no longer has a passion for the sport, and when he reveals this, they try to convince him otherwise, because it would ruin all of their chances of success. Later on, people start to pair up at the party with Floyd cheating on his girlfriend with Jody, Tony and Sabrina together, and Mitch even starts making moves on the sophomore girl. When Floyd and the other seniors see Mitch, they're impressed and call him to give him advice on how to get laid later. Mike still feels unsatisfied about the incident with Clint, so he goes back and picks a fight with him. Eventually, he gets beat up, but saved by Floyd and Wooderson before any serious injuries can be inflicted. He then leaves there a bit more fulfilled that he didn't chicken out like usual. After a while, the party starts to die, and people go home. But everyone is pleased that they still had a chance to enjoy a wild night out. Wooderson then invites his smaller circle of Floyd and a few other guys to the school field for a blunt session to end the night. They mess around for a while, and Floyd explains that he doesn't want to be stopped from living his youth to the fullest. Their little hangout is interrupted by the cops, who then call the coach and inform him that 2 of his players have been hanging out with vultures like Slater and Wooderson. Once again, coach scolds them, but this time, Floyd makes it clear that he might keep playing football for them, but it's going to be on his terms. Elsewhere, at sunrise, Mitch appears to have been successful with the sophomore, as she gives him a ride home. And when his mom catches him sneaking in, she lets him off the hook, because Jody already told her his whereabouts. The story wraps up with Floyd and his stoner friends on a joyride to get tickets for an Aerosmith summer concert.